Well, believe it or not, Oklahoma has about 55,000 miles of shoreline, which is pretty impressive considering we're smack dab in the middle of America. In fact, the state has about 2,000 more miles of shoreline than the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic coast combined, thanks to the concerted efforts of building lakes. Oklahoma has the largest number of man-made lakes created by dams of any state in the entire country. And our prolonged drought has been hard on each and every one of them. None more so than in southwest Oklahoma. After years of drought, recent rains have replenished water levels of the long-depleted Altus Lugert Lake. As of last week, the lake at Quartz Mountain State Park is now more than full. In fact, just in the last month, it has tripled in size, which is good news for not only boaters, but the farmers and ranchers of that area who depend upon it for irrigation. Now, lake levels are also up around the state, some of them dangerously high, causing damage that could take a while to repair. And while certainly inconvenient for lake lovers, in the long run, it's ideal for our environment and our economy. We traveled to 2 Oklahoma lakes that have pretty much gone unscathed by recent flooding, and we start in south central Oklahoma. Situated just outside of Ardmore, Oklahoma, Lake Murray is a favorite for locals. But this Memorial Day weekend, not a boat in sight.
We're open, and we have 9 campgrounds that are ready to go.
Richard Keithley is the assistant manager of Lake Murray State Park and says the same rains that closed most of Lake Texoma and forced Beavers Bend State Park to be evacuated did wreck this park's summer kickoff, yet it's still just what Lake Murray needed.
The water levels were near record lows, and most of the boat ramps accessing this lake were closed down. As a matter of fact, last year we were only able to keep 2 boat ramps open.
Which won't be a problem for the foreseeable future. Lake levels that were more than 6.5 feet below normal just last October are now, thanks to May's rains, back to normal.
From October through April of this year, it brought it up about a foot. The changes in moisture level brought it up about a foot. In May, we have come up 5 feet 2 inches just for the month of May.
Helping Lake Murray bounce back to full capacity thanks to 2 foot of rain in a single month and the runoff those showers that have left behind in this lake's drainage basin.
If we look to, say, 4th of July, or even the other weeks in June, you'll see a lake that's able to sustain good levels for quite a long time, even a year or 2. We'll see good availability to the recreation activities on this lake for quite some time.
And no lake in Oklahoma attracts more recreational users than Grand Lake northeast of Tulsa.
Well, it's certainly picked up here in recent weeks, the amount of rain we've had.
Justin Alberti is with the Grand River Dam Authority and says while most of Oklahoma has been deluged by rain, Grand Lake's watershed has been much drier.
For this lake to really see the water come up, it's got to rain a lot in southeast Kansas and southwest Missouri. That's where it really affects our watershed. We obviously, if it rains hard enough here, we have some runoff here locally.
Stretching 66 miles long with more than 1,300 miles of shoreline, Grand Lake's sheer size helps it better deal with flooding. Yet they still have had to open their floodgates, which can cause some problems downstream.
When you open floodgates and you release a foot of water from Grand Lake, it runs into Lake Hudson, which is also another GRDA reservoir. A foot of water out of Grand puts about 3 feet into Hudson because Hudson's a much smaller reservoir.
So for Alberti and others, out of sight is never out of mind because the water, well, it has to go somewhere. And that's when flood prevention begins with Oklahoma's Corps of Engineers.
We can't just run this all downstream and because they're trying to release what's below dams. It's all done staggered, balanced, it's all done in a way that allows the Corps to get as much water downstream as safely and quickly as possible. We always tend to think once it's downstream for me, it's kind of maybe not I don't have my concern anymore, but the Corps, it's all their concern until we get it out into the Gulf, I guess, or into the Mississippi River.
Which could make this an interesting summer for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Now, if you'd like to see my interview with the former Tulsa District Commander of the Army Corps of Engineers and current Secretary of Energy and the Environment, Colonel Michael Teague, we do have that streaming under this week's Value Added section.